What's up, femboys? Winnie the Pooh here.
McDonald's.
Chili's.
I hope that wasn't too disturbing, but anyways, today we are going to take a look at Red Green Luffy in the OP15 format. Yes, the format we all learned to love with the triangle-like structure with Nami, Penel and Lucy. But this deck actually can keep up pretty well in this, because against Lucy and Nami, as you can see with the power rankings, you have a pretty decent shot. And against Penel, it's not too shabby as well. The only thing you would need to dodge is an ace, which is more common than not. But other than that, it looks pretty promising for this deck in this format, and a little teaser for the OP16 format. This deck will be great in that too. But enough said, let's look at the deck list and start with the leader. So basically, Don times 1, yes, you need a Don. If your opponent attacks your leader, this card, or one of your Straw Hat Crew type characters, you can rest a Don to make that a 2k counter. And this stacks, yes, if you leave 2 Don up, it's 4k counter and so on so forth. But it goes only up to 5 Don. That's the restriction of this leader. There are some cards to mitigate this restriction, but we will take a look at that in the deck list later on. But for now, being green and red means there's actually pretty good Straw Hat support, and there's some more we received in OP15. But naturally, you want stuff that restands you Don at the end of your turn or on play, and we have plenty of that in this deck. Let's keep it short and simple. For the 1-drops, we have Garb, a really busted card because it can pick up anything that's 3 cost or higher. And then the Bonnie is our second searcher with a 4-off as well, and this can search out Straw Hat Crew type characters. Spoilers ahead, more than anything else we run Straw Hat Crew type cards in this deck anyway. Then we got the Laboon. Laboon can pretty much protect anything in this deck, other than one card actually, because that's not a 7k base, but Laboon can protect anything you want to be protected, so it's a 2k counter as well. You can drop it, you can keep it, the choice is yours. Also, we have the 1-drop Killer only as a 2 to 1 off, because the Don shuffling is really nice, but we cannot search this card out. Unfortunately, with the Don Shuffle Nami out of rotation, correct me if I'm wrong on that, we need to rely on this bullshit, but sometimes you are unable to get that Don onto your leader, so this card can help out in that situations as well, and it might be worth bumping this to 4. Other than that, for everyone's nightmare here, we run a second playset of 2Ks, and that is the Sanji from the something starter deck. I don't know from the top of my head now. But basically what this card does is, if you play it out, also it's a 2k, but it only costs 2 Don. You can give a Straw Hat Crew type character of yours with 6k power or more unblockable. Yes, you heard right, a 2 Don commitment to give a character unblockable. This is actually pretty great, flexible because it's a 2k, but mind you, you cannot use this on your leader. Also, mind you, this Sanji specifies that it needs to be a 6k character, not a 6k base character. So I'm only telling you this because it came up in my gameplays and maybe some of you are too stupid to think of it. But let's say you can just give your 5k Usopp a Don, so it would be a 6k attacker. And then finally we can talk about one of my favorite pieces in this deck. This card was booed out when it came out, but of course I'm talking about the PRBO2 Monkey D. Luffy. If you do not know what this does, it has a restriction. If your leader is multicolored, that one we fulfill. You can rest one of your opponent's Don on the start of his turn. Of course, your opponent needs to be at 7 or less Don, but this is not a restriction at all, because you want to kill the curve of your opponent. So let's say you go against a Lucy, you take away second from him because you want him to be on the 7 Don turn. So there normally a Lucy would come down on the board, but if you, the turn prior, on your 6th Don turn, play out this fucking Luffy, your opponent will not be able to play out that Lucy. Same goes for Ace. If you take away first and then slap this motherfucker on the board, your opponent will not play his I'm your Whitebeard shit event on his 8 Don turn. And this is also great against Nami, and this is also great against Enel. Okay, you see where I'm going with this. It's only a drop in the ocean, I know, but anything that gets you to the win closer is worth considering for this deck, and for any deck for that matter. Sanji is the heart of the deck. It's a combustion engine, and 5 Don, or actually 3 Don for a 7k attacker that restands Don at the end of every turn. This really is the cornerstone of this deck, and it goes together with the 4-cost Usopp, because the Usopp even restands us 2 Don at the end of the turn. Staying with the topic of restanding Don, Nami is also pretty valuable in this deck. I ran it as a 3-off in most of my games, but I consider running it as a 4-off because I realized how important it is. More often than not, your opponent will slap down that 2 to 3 blockers, and the restand effect is so valuable in this deck because there are not that many characters that restand you and give you an additional effect. This rests 2 things and then is a blocker too. This card is cracked, my guy. And of course, one of our most valuable restanders is the Monkey D. Luffy as a 6-cost 7k with double attack. And by the way, why are so many cards getting double attack recently? Very well needed card. You can argue to play a 3-off or a 4-off. I'm opting to run a 3-off because I need the space for other stuff too, but that stuff is coming up now. Brook is a really crazy addition for this deck, because where you wouldn't be able to finish off games because you needed an additional attacker basically, you are now able to do it because this character enables you to restand one of your characters. It costs 6 Don. I get that it is expensive, but on the other side, it also rests an opponent's character too, so this is a game-ending machine, but it is only coming up so often. Because of that, we are running just a 1-off of this. And now talking about the biggest edition from OP15, we have the 7-cost Zoro. This character is run in anything that is red and can afford to play this, and will play this probably. But on play, your leader gains plus 2k power, and then it can get character rush if your opponent has an 8k attacker on the board. But more often than not, it's smart to leave this standing because of minus powering effects in this meta, but you'll see that in the gameplay part of this video. Let's talk about the pieces that make this viable in this meta. Of course, I'm talking about, I know you are strong, so I'll go out from the very start and then do the... What is this card name? Anyways, you may rest 2 of your Don and then freeze 2 7-cost or less characters from your opponent. This is crazy. It also has a counter slapped onto it. Your leader gains plus 3k power during this turn, so this is never a break, it's always useful. And then there is Electrical Luna. This card does not need any introduction, but if you don't know what it does, it freezes anything that is rested and a 7-cost or less. So it's basically an extended version of the previous card, but it's also without the counter on it. And also it has a trigger which comes up pretty often if you ask me. The rest 1 of your opponent characters is so valuable if you want to try to go to game, or if you need something to be rested so that you can go into it. But as I said, this is not the main reason. These are just additions. The freeze effects are what make these cards so valuable. You can run a playset of both. You can run a 4-2 split. You can run a 3-3 split. It's only dependent on what you feel best about. But I opted to go for a 4-3 split, which is okay and fine because one of the cards is more searchable than the other. But that's it for the events basically, or is it? Because we have Charlestone. Charlestone is an emergency counter card. It costs 2 Don, sure, but the payoff is pretty good because you get an additional 10k counter out of this card. So basically your opponent attacks, you rest 2 Don, trash a card from hand because that's the requirement for this card, and then you get additional 3 Dons for your turn, and also Charleston countered out for 4k in that attack. But mind you, you cannot use Charleston and then use the Don you restanded with it for the same attack. It doesn't count, and that's just a rulings thing. Go ask Bandai or something else. I don't have the answers. So that's pretty much the deck list, and let's dive into some gameplay. But before we do that, please consider subscribing. More than 90% of you are not subscribed, and that makes me sad, man. Thank you. Bye bye. So diving into our first match, we are going against a Lucy player, and I'm opting to keep this hand because the Lucy chose to go first, and I have a searcher to find my Luffy, maybe the 4-cost one, and I'm deciding to play out a Laboon here, and I did play out the, played out the Laboon, as you can see. With the Garb Search, unfortunately, we do not see a 4-cost Luffy, and time is valuable because in 2 turns he will be on the 7-Don turn, so unfortunate for us, but nothing to be sad about. We take this life, and as you can see, I considered running the Distorted Future event. Maybe I'm including a cards to consider section, or maybe I'm not, maybe in the future. But yeah, he swings 2 times here, one with his leader and one with the Leo. After some thinking, I took that, and there's nothing to rest with our Luna. So we are on 4 Don. We could play out the Usopp, but first we should swing the Garb into the Leo, which I did not do. Why didn't I do that? Maybe I wanted to scarce him from resources, which would be the good way to go, because now I'm restanding 2 Don, but they are of no use because I have no Don on my leader. But I still have the distorted future event, so I could counter out for 3 if he decides to swing 7 with his leader, which he obviously won't do because he activated Memento, and Memento lets him draw 2, trash 1, and then play out a Cavendish, the 4-cost Cavendish, of course. Let's see if that one comes out. If he misses, maybe sometimes... Oh, he plays out a Leo with it. Unfortunate, man. He didn't see a Cavendish. He activated the stage afterwards, which is a mistake. Why wouldn't you... yes, this needs to be counted out, but why wouldn't you play your stage and then activate Memento? It would be a further card to search for. But let's play out a Luffy, because we have the flexibility to do so on this turn. And then play out a Nami, which is a bold choice. I'm now reading the Leo. Why? I don't know. Maybe because of the Nami effect. But yeah, as you can see, I play out a Bonnie. And there is the Luffy. Maybe I should have been playing out that Bonnie first and then the Luffy, so small correction for me. But already off the bat, this game feels a bit weird, to be honest. Maybe it was one of my first games with this, so I was a bit not that confident. But I'm doing the right things here, because establishing the Luffy is important, because the double attack threat is good. I'm deciding to start swinging here because he only has 1 attacker, and I would have 1 Don open plus the Usopp 3, so that's a good choice. You could argue not to swing with the Usopp, to leave it open, but with 3 Don to protect it, it's pretty fine. Maybe he has the... okay, there's the 5th event he uses with the Lucy. Yes, -8 to the Luffy. So in the following turn we cannot attack with our Luffy, but that's fine. We brought him down to 2 life, and now we can use our Laboon, and that I'm going to do. I'm resting a Don and the Garb. Okay, now I can see why I did that. I didn't want to swing with the Garb in the first turn or my second turn into the Leo, because I wanted to have something to rest, or further cards to rest with the Laboon. Okay, that's actually pretty smart. Taps on the shoulder for me. And now I can counter out exactly for 9. Okay. Maybe it wasn't one of my first games. Maybe I'm better than I give myself credit for. Okay, now we are on our 8 Don turn. And we could play out a second Luffy, which would actually mean immense pressure for him. Here now I have to criticize myself. Swinging with the leader first is better, but I can understand why, because I want a flat swing here and my leader needs Don attached. So okay, that's actually fine to do it this way. And now I'm playing out a Sanji. Is that right? A Sanji for 5 Don, so I would get back 2 Don, so it actually costs only 3 Don. That's crazy. The Sanji only costs ever costs 2 Don. 3 Don, sorry. 2 Don if you resend the card in your end of your turn, and I don't know what I'm thinking about here, but yeah, there's the Luffy coming down instead of the Sanji. That was the thinking point there. And now I'm attaching a Don onto my leader, and I could play out the Nami. Maybe I'm arguing about that. It's kind of, yeah, how can I say it? Cumbersome, because I don't have many options in hand right now. Another Usopp would have been great, but yeah, a 9 swing is great too, because he only has 5 cards in hand, and that is not a free block with his Lucy. He needs to counter out and block, but he opts to counter all of these, which is actually a stupidity, maybe. And he quits. Okay, I admit this kind of looked like a low quality match. Let's see if we can find a better opponent. And against Crocodile. Okay, I like this. Crocodile players, most often than not, are actually good players. So, in the fundamental knowledge of the game, in my head, Croc players always are good players. So, to put it that way. And we start off with a Garb, which is great because it picked up a Sanji. And we have a Luna in hand too, and the Don Shuffle Kira. Yeah, let's see. He plays out a Valentine, I think. It's just a searcher which trashes the rest of the cards in that search. And we see a Luffy. Okay, this is really interesting. I already like where this game is going. Yes, I'm debating if he has something to get rid of the killer. And if it's worth it, because the Mr. 4, I think, or 3 or something like that, one of the Baroque works, Das Bones or what his name is, can rest a character of 0 cost and then rush into it. So that was the debating point to play out killer. But I think I opted to go for it because at least one turn I can get something out of the killer, which is actually nice. And he plays out a Bone Clay. And that was my mistake. Yes, that was why I was thinking probably. But it's okay. The killer is gone. We cannot counter for it or keep it. And that's actually something that makes me really sad. Always, and that's the reason why I play only 2 of this too. It's so fragile. Every time I lose it, I'm sad, man. But he's at 4 Don. I'm counting his Don right now to see how much I have left. To play out the Luffy, but the Luffy is not that, let's say, it doesn't benefit us so much in this matchup, because Crocodile has actually crazy toolbox. He can play out a Robin on 8, a 7 cost Robin we saw earlier on, he searched, or he can play out the Crocodile, and that makes him so flexible about it. But right now on 6, there's not much he can do. He can play out another Das Bones. He can play out a Bon Clay, so on and so forth. He can play out a blocker, which is probably the best option for him. But he swings first, which will be countered out by our leader ability. And there's a 7. I would take this, to be honest, but yeah, I took it. Nice, because I only had 5 cards in hand, so I don't want to go that low in hand. And Miss Golden Week comes down. It's just a draw 2, trash 2. A really simple card, but I think it was 2. I might be mistaken, but it fills up his trash. The game plan of Crocodile is to fill up his trash and then give minus cost to all characters and then start his own character effects going. And I'm opting to first play out a searcher in the Jewelry Bonnie. I'm checking his Don, his trash, to see if the the Robin will be of any use. And I find a Luffy, fortunately, restand 4 Don, and still play out the Luffy, which is okay. That at least means that he is not bringing out a Crocodile. But there's an argument to just play out the Nami to rest his blocker and then maybe get rid of him, because he only has 5 cards in hand, so the blocker would have been gone for sure. But I'm opting to swing into life and he goes down to 2 life. I think this was suboptimal. I think it would have been better to play the Nami and then go really tall into the Mr. 1 Bones and into the Feathers on the left side. I don't know, Golden something is his name. But I opted to do this. Maybe I really wanted to do it. It's kind of stupidity of me. Because actually, if you look at it in a vacuum, the Robin, or rather the Miss All Sunday you see, he played out right now, is more of a value play than the Crocodile. So let's see what comes out. He probably is going to, play out a Mr. 1. I only have 1 Don to protect this too. So you see where I'm going. It would have been better to play out the Nami, but maybe I was thinking, okay, next turn maybe another blocker comes down and then I can go for game. At this stage I only played 3 Nami too, so maybe I didn't want to waste it. As I said in the previous game, I don't know if I go over options, but there is also another option to play in this deck, and that is the Zorro event that rests 2 cards, the Holy effect basically. But I also tried to experiment with his Shanks, as you can see, but I ultimately didn't like the Shanks because it is a 10-don commitment and you cannot activate Luna the same turn you play him out. So this is more of a value play, playing out a Luffy into a Usopp, really great. Now I have 2 cards that give me Don back on the end of my turn. And now I'm pressuring the Mr. 1. It would have been better to pressure last turn 2, meaning into characters, because now he established a big hand size and can protect them. So I admit that mistake, and here I tried to farm cards out of the Mr. 1 attacks so that the Luffy attack is a bit harder to counter out from, which is being blocked. I could have been gotten rid of this blocker earlier on, so my mistake. And here is 7 swing into life, which will be taken. That's what we like to see. We get 4 Don back, and actually this is good because we have a dazed out there. This is actually pretty good because we have a Charleston still, we have decent hand size. It's looking okay-ish for us. Of course, the Crocodile comes down, and the Crocodile is a pain in the ass, to be honest. If he starts now to play haute coutures onto his Crocodile plays too, then I assume, are in some trouble. But our engine stays and stands. The Sanji is very important to protect the Luffy too. The only thing we can let go is the 4-cost Luffy, which we can allow ourselves to let go because we need all these attackers. At the end of the day, he only has 6 cards in hand and no blocker on the board, mind you. 1 Don up means he can only use his ground death 1 time, and being left with 1 life, this is a good spot to be in. There's an argument to counter this out of hand, but I'm doing it with the Don. Okay, let's see where that gets us. Okay, I know why I did that, because the Mr. 1 swing is only a 6 and the Miss All Sunday swing is only an 8. I would have enough Don left, and I don't think he will commit that Don he has left up, because he needs that ground death plus 4k activation. And there's the 3 swings, and now I could let it go. Yeah, okay, I could have the extra swing. There's an argument for that, but I didn't have any 2k in hand. And do I play out the Shanks here? That would be funny. But it's quite reasonable. Okay, I played out the Shanks. Now I have 5 Don to commit to my characters, and after that 5 Don, or rather more than, no, I can only commit 5 Don. Reason being, the Usopp and the Sanji restand will get me nothing if the Don are attached. Attached Don do not count towards restanding cards, so at least 5 Don need to be in the Don area still, and are not allowed to be attached to anything. You feel me? But the 7 swing here is met with a ground death, and a further 8 swing, because why not? We have 3 Don left, is being taken, and I'm really confident here, to be honest, because I have 10k counter, and on top of that I have a Charleston and a Distorted Future too. So let's see what he does. If he tries to put enormous amounts of blockers down, then we need to find the Sanji, the 2-cost Sanji. But if he does want to go for game, I think we have it still, but he decides to go for characters. Okay, the Usopp is pretty valuable for us, but since the game is heading towards its end, I'm opting to counter that out to have as much attackers as possible. And now I'm using my leader effect. There's the 2k counter from the Don. Sorry, just took a sip of my coffee. Yes, it's 7 p.m. and I'm sipping coffee. And yeah, The Darkspawn swing is also a free leader ability, and here now we can use a Charleston, but we would only get 2 Don back from that. But if you rest 2 or 4 Don, we cannot use the Charleston anymore. So this is reasonable. We could have used the Distorted Future and the 2k, but we had no 2k. We only had a 1k in hand, so this is pretty okay. Still having 4 Don to counter out of. His Crocodile swing, I'm pretty confident. I think this game is, the writing is perhaps on the wall. So 3 Don here, protect the Sanji at the Usopp with all costs. And we still have a 1k counter, a 3k counter with Distorted Future and an additional 1k counter in hand. So we could still counter for 4k if he tries to do some shenanigans. But with the Shanks on the board, he needs to freeze the Shanks or rather deny him from attacking. And let's see how that goes. And he plays out that Croc with his leader ability. And there's probably the Shanks frozen because it's minus 10 cost. Let's see, yes, it is frozen. And I assume he plays another Croc maybe, yes. And then has 2 Don left for 2 ground deaths. I don't think so. 2 ground deaths count. Okay, he quits. It is not enough. GG's. For our final match, we are going against Penels, and we took away first, which is, I think, more important than going second against this deck. And the hand I see I really like, because we have some stuff to do. It's an argument to play out this Laboon to have an attacker into his now 2 searches on the board, but I'm opting not to and just leave 2 Don open for the 2 6k swings that will be coming our way. Now if he is smart, he's swinging, yes he does that, swinging a 7 and a 6. And yeah, let's first use our Don with a counter, and then he does not attack with the Ohm, which is the holy, sorry, Ohm, yes. Now we can play out the Sanji, and that is the only thing we do in this matchup. We need the Don to counter out, we need to have him in a state with low hand size, so what we're doing now is, I think, the right play against this deck. And there comes down a 6k Penel. Of course, we love to see that. And there's the Lightning Dragon, okay. The Lightning Dragon does not do much right now, but okay. There's a 7 swing again with the pudding, which is hard for us, to be honest. But the Penel swing we can counter out with a leader ability, free counter. And we see a killer which won't come down in this matchup, to be honest. Because he can get rid of that easily. I am opting to play out a Zoro here, just to have that on the board. It could have Rush, yeah. But this is a case where we wouldn't want to swing. Yes, okay, nice. Of course he has 7 cards in hand, but we do not want to further that hand size. The thing with Penel is, if he does something, for example, resting a character and then denying him from attacking and giving him minus 1k, that's all cards in hand, and these cards most often than not replace themselves, yeah, sure, but he always has some loss on that way to achieving his goal, so it's best to not further him in hand size. Of course you need to finish him, and it's dependent on what deck you play. But I think in this matchup you want to go as slow as possible, to be chill and do not rush things, yeah? And there's another Penel, which is actually looking grim for us, because 10k swings are hard for us. If you remember correctly, we can leave 5 Don open, and out of these 5 Don, 3 Don will always be used for an Penel swing if he swings into our leader. But if not, that is the bright side about it, we can counter out cheaper. For example, if his 10k Penel swings into our Sanji, it's a discount counter rather, but he only swings with one of the Penels, that life we take, and then I don't know what I'm trying to find here. Okay, I'm thinking about the Luffy, and let's see what, I hope I take that, because then I can show you how this goes. Because if I take the Luffy, Penel needs every Don he plays for that turn. And then, okay, I'm playing out the 6-cost Luffy first, which is the right thing to do. And then the 4-cost Luffy after that. But now I need Don. I only have 2 Don to counter out for the following turn, so I don't think that was optimal. And now I'm deciding to swing into life, which is okay, because next turn I would have some attackers, and then the threat comes imminent. Because the thing with Penel is, he does not run that many 2k counters. He depends on blockers, and I think he only runs one playset of 2ks, and that is this Sanji. Or maybe Usohachi, some players play Usohachi too. But anyways, he always can counter out a 6k swing, or 5k swing, sorry. Pretty chill, but anything other than that is hard for this deck. So yeah, we also want that gone. A Mamara gun is a crazy card. We want that to be gone as much as possible. And our Luffy goes down the drain as well. This hit we take. And then he can ramp, but as you saw, he could not use his 6 Don, so he couldn't play another Penel, but he could play 2 Sanjis, which is fine. And now I'm using the freeze of the insert crazy ass card name, but that's what I told you in the deck list. These freeze cards are so free against this leader, and now he does not put any threat onto us with his 10k attackers, but we can continue to pressure his life. With swings he cannot counter out of easily. So this 6k swing is also he does not run that many 2k counters because of the effects of his events that can counter out for 2k. I need to correct myself on that. 7k swings are what is... Sometimes it depends on the situation. You need to check trash, you need to see, but most of the lists are running the same things for the Penel players. And now he's at 2 life. I'm comfortable restanding 2 Don, 5 Don on the board, 1 life still left. His Penels cannot attack. This is a good spot to be in, to be honest. And I also have, okay, he plays down a Reiju. Reiju is a pain in the ass because this is a 4k7 or 4 cost 7k counter, and he still has an Ohm, which minuses a card. And I think I'm going to do my best to protect this motherfucker. Yeah, let's use 3 Don and give him a 1k counter. That is theatrical, to be honest. Yeah, let's use the Usopp. And now he needs to swing with his leader and the Sanji. Okay, he uses El Tor, makes it short, rips the band-aid off straight away. But yeah, there's the 6k swing into life. And now we have a Brook. We have a Brook and we have an Unblocker. We could use both of them, but we would only get him to 1 life. We need him to react. We need him to take 1 life at the very least. Let's first get rid of this Ohm to telegraph that we are not going for game. Maybe he feels comfortable. And if he gives us a counter here, this is a humongous mistake. Yeah, as you can see, I'm highlighting the Brook because I'm so eager to play it. And he counters out. Dude, what are you doing? This is a horrible mistake, I think, because he only has 5 cards in hand. I think a 7 swing, I think he feels too comfortable right now, and a 7 swing would stick. Yeah, okay, let's see. 7 swing, blank. And he took that. Oh my god. I think the game is gone here. I think the game is gone right now. But let's see. He still can survive. This is a huge mistake from him. We play out our Sanji. Maybe he didn't think of it. Put all the Don. Okay, that's game gone. GG's. Bye-bye, Unk. So I hope you liked the video. Do not forget to subscribe. Winnie the Pooh out.